Jai Hind everyone. Today we will discuss the conference procedure. Now, once you go to the SSB, the GTO, the psychologist and the interviewing officer will do their tests, and the conference is the place wherein they will meet for the first time regarding the particular candidate, discuss, pull in their ideas and decide whether the candidate should be recommended or not. Now, as far as the candidate is concerned, when he enters the conference hall, he will find that he will be made to sit in this fashion, and the assessors of the board will be seated in the U-shaped format. The president of the board will be chaired in center, and you will find that an interviewing officer who has not taken your interview will have a national flag in front of him, and he will be the person who will be asking you a few questions. Now, you will find that the GTO after his test has made a profile assessment and given you some marks. Similarly, the psych after profile assessment of your dossier, he gives you certain marks, and then the same is done by the interviewing officer who has done your interview. Now, once all three marks are added up, they come to a particular total, and if that total is about a particular mark, then you are supposed to be discussed. Now, once you are discussed, then the decision is taken. Now, there are a few possibilities wherein you can be recommended or not recommended. Now, during the discussion, the possibilities which will be there are that when all three assessors have found your profile good, then they will say all three, you are a clearly recommended candidate. Now, there can be a candidate who has been passed by one and not passed by two, or passed by two and not passed by one. In that case, the candidate will be discussed and thereafter recommended. Now, there will be a possibility where the candidate is discussed, but one of them or two of the assessors are not convinced about the candidate, then he will not be recommended. And there is another possibility wherein the candidate is not even making the basic required marks, wherein the candidate is clearly dropped. Now, there is one more possibility wherein the candidate is discussed and one of the assessor or maybe two of the assessors, generally it is about one of the assessor who still has a lingering doubt wherein he would like to have a review. Now, in that case, the candidate is brought into or rather once the candidate comes to the conference hall, the interviewing officer who has not taken the interview will apply obviously the interview technique, and probably a few questions will be asked, and if the doubts are clarified of that individual assessor, then they will recommend him. There could be a possibility that somebody willingly goes along, or somebody might have some kind of a reservation now while going along also. So when he got a reservation about a person, but still he somehow managed and he's got convinced about the person, then there is something called as a follow-up procedure. Then he will find out about the candidate in the future later on when you go to the NDA or maybe the IMA or something like that. Now, there can be another possibility that the assessor is not convinced with the argument of the profile of the other two, so then he is not going to recommend and he gets dropped. Now, as in terms of marks, the GTO has given you out of 225 marks, the psych has given you marks out of 225, the interviewing officer also has given you, then the conference marks, when they give all three assessors, it also amounts to be 225 marks, and the overall OLQ marks will come out to be 900 marks. Now, if you remember, now this is almost 1/4 the total number of marks. So, at times amongst assessors, we discuss that this is the fourth technique. That is why we have got almost the same amount of marks. Now, there are a few points which I want you to remember while being in the conference. First thing is that in most of the cases, the decision has already been taken. So, you don't have to get unduly tense when you enter the particular conference hall. Secondly, decision is taken by the 3 assessors who have actually assessed you during the test battery, and not the assessor who is actually asking you the questions. So be relaxed and try to give in your best. Third one which I would like to tell you is play as per the merit of the ball. Don't try to think what could be the matter in which or for what reason is the question being asked. Please don't think like that. Answer to the best of your abilities, play as per the merit of the situation or the ball. And as far as focus on the game and not on the scoreboard. Okay, remember that at times matches are won on the last ball. So play till the last ball to win the match. Now, once you perform in the conference, you are asked to go outside. So when you enter the conference, my advice to you is to try to be composed, and if you could give a smile, that will be very good. While addressing the conference, if you can try to give eye contact to the person who is asking you or to the people who are seated, it will be an additional point for you. Please do not make any gestures wherein you are trying to fist or you are trying to tap your leg or something like that, which can be avoided. You can always subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.